Another night of unrest across the country and here in the city as anti-ICE protesters gathered once again in Foley Square.
Yeah, this as millions get ready to hold a No Kings protest in cities across the country against President Donald Trump on Saturday. Eyewitness News reporter Jaysha Patel joins us live in Lower Manhattan with the latest on this. Good morning, Jaysha.
Good morning, Pedro and Shirlene. The NYPD definitely keeping a close eye on protests that are happening today, tomorrow, and this weekend. The good news is protests here at home last night were much calmer compared to Tuesday. Last night, only 2 people were arrested compared to Tuesday when 86 people were taken into custody. But take a look. Things were still tense at times with people pushing and shoving police officers. The demonstrators were cuffed for not clearing the access point to Federal Plaza. And just like earlier in the week, demonstrations started at Foley Square before moving down Broadway and later up to the Manhattan Detention Center. Things were much calmer, though, last night compared to Tuesday, like I mentioned, when protesters clashed with police, throwing items at officers and even throwing garbage and traffic cones into the road at times. The NYPD says they have things under control here and do not need federal intervention. The police commissioner says they do not engage in civil enforcement and they don't know where ICE is in the city or where they're conducting raids. She says their responsibility is to maintain safety and order here on the streets. But meanwhile, over in Los Angeles, protests continued across LA County. Dozens of people were arrested yesterday, and protests have even popped up outside of hotels where ICE agents were rumored to be staying. Thousands of National Guard troops and 700 Marines were deployed to the LA area, and the Marines are expected to be serving alongside National Guard troops within the next 48 hours. A curfew is also in effect for a part of downtown LA where protests and marches have been happening for days. And city leaders have been speaking up about ICE raids across Southern California. The mayor of Huntington Park emotional during a press conference.
These are Americans. And when we lifted our hands and we swore the oath to defend the Constitution and to defend this country, that oath was to the American people. It was not to a dictator. It was not to a tyrant. It was not to a president. It was to the American people.
And back here at home, protests are going to continue today here at Foley Square this evening. And also there's a mass protest planned on Saturday at Bryant Park. So the NYPD will definitely be keeping an eye on those protests that are planned. For now, live in Lower Manhattan, Jaysha Patel, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.